Hello, dear friends. We are entering a new global cycle of manifestation. Opinion piece. Mayan New Year. Energy of sowing. Time for renewal. Starts on Saturday. Yellow resonant seed. The dragon family wants a Jubilee. Let's start. The Mayan New Year, which begins on Saturday, July 26, 2025, is the year of the yellow resonant seed according to the Mayan galactic synchronization. It represents the energy of sowing not only on the material plane, but also on the emotional and the spiritual plane, with an emphasis on perseverance and dedication so that something new can grow and manifest even if immediate results are not visible. The yellow resonant seed primarily symbolizes initiation, intention, and daily action to give shape to new creations. It represents the energy of sowing not only on the material plane but also on the emotional and the spiritual plane, with an emphasis on perseverance and dedication so that the new can grow and manifest. This year is considered a spiritual gateway to leaving the old behind and focusing on growth and conscious co-creation with the universe, accompanied by an energy that promotes integration, forgiveness, and clarity in personal and collective purpose. In short, the Mayan New Year 2025 is a time of cleansing, renewal, intentional planting of projects, and deep connection with universal energy for a year marked by growth and building from a solid inner foundation. Today, Friday, July 25th, is the day out of time, dedicated to reflection, gratitude, letting go of patterns, and spiritual cleansing. It is an ideal day to forgive, give thanks, and prepare the spirit for the cycle that begins. Tomorrow, Saturday, July 26th, marks the beginning of the new cycle with the energy of the yellow resonant seed, a symbol of intention, action, and the sowing of new ideas and projects. Many communities and groups hold gatherings that include ceremonial rituals, meditation, tamathkales, ceremonial steam baths, and cultural activities from morning until noon on July 26th. Energy cleansing ceremonies, purification of the home and mind, and offerings to Mother Earth with flowers, candle, copal, and incense are performed. This ritual seeks to open oneself to prosperity, abundance, and harmony in life. In Mexico, especially in the Yucatan, the lighting of the sacred fire and community events include meditations, healing circles, drum music, and ancestral rituals are held. Full Fort summary. The White Hats say Trump will be replaced by Vice President Vance. This is because they know the true commander-in-chief is missing in action and presumed that the Dragon family promises virtually unlimited funding to Vance and his team so that they can celebrate a Jubilee and end the Babylonian debt slavery system the West currently endures. Most of the world agrees with the Dragon family. The structures of the World Bank and the IMF support a reverse Marshall Plan in which emerging and developing economies finance the more developed world. The Brazilian president stated, Lula called for reform on the institutions established at Bretton Woods 8 decades ago, believing that a new type of financing that prioritizes developing countries is necessary. Incidentally, the Lula who presided over the BRICS is an avatar, as the original died last year according to Full Fort. President Trump, who was in perfect health in April, now has swollen ankles and bruised bruised hands. The ankle swelling is described as a chronic venous insufficiency due to age, and the bruised hands are the result of handshakes and aspirin. However, remember how Queen Elizabeth died shortly after being seen in public with bruised hands. Netanyahu is believed to be the leader of the new fake Trump, and the fact that both are falling ill while suffering serious political attacks is a sign that they are being brought down. French President Emmanuel Macron is also in serious trouble. Less than 10% of French people support his constant calls to send troops to Ukraine, and he cannot appear in public for fear of being lynched. Europe lacks the strength to send troops to Ukraine despite Macron's imperial ambitions. In any case, Macron is falling because after abandoning Senegal last week, France has been expelled from Africa, except for Djibouti, a continent it used to rule. It means it can no longer appropriate African resources and is condemning it to bankruptcy. Archbishop Carlo Maria Vigano has broken his silence on Pope Leo, stating that his actions of the past 2 months demonstrated. He claims it's a Satanist. His plan involves a bureaucratization of the church, and we know that bureaucracy is one of Freemasonry's main tools of control. Bureaucrats, under the pretext of democratic and synodal procedures, can manipulate assemblies, manipulate votes, shape consensus, and make it appear as if any proposal arose spontaneously from the bottom up, when in reality it has been carefully crafted by those who manage the entire organizational apparatus of the synod. The church is bankrupt because many Catholics have stopped making donations. Brazil, Canada, the EU, China, and many other countries are publicly talking about halting trade with the US. The European Union has warned that his trade with the US could be virtually wiped out if Washington makes good on his threat to apply 30% tariff on goods imported from the bloc. While the West continues its explosion, China is technologically leaving it behind. It announced a magnetic levitation train with a speed of 600 kilometers per hour. If the US had such a train, it could travel from New York to Washington in 40 minutes instead of 4 hours it takes now. In the ancient Roman Empire, the population periodically went into rebellion mode, rebelling against things like exorbitant taxes or monetary debasement at the hands of their rulers. Whenever this happened, the emperor would simply instigate a war against some fearsome foreign enemy, which instilled fear and patriotism in the population. People would forget their rebellion to protect themselves from the new official enemy, with whom they are now at war. With whom they were now at war. Matrix. Many have seen The Matrix, but few understand how powerful the message of the Buddhist child bending the spoon was. When Neo first visits the oracle, the boy tells Neo, "Don't try to bend the spoon. It's impossible. Instead, try to understand the truth. There is no spoon. Then you will see that it's not the spoon that bends, it's you." What he's saying is that there is nothing that is not you, because Neo wasn't just an entity like the body. Neo was the Matrix becoming aware of itself in order to rewrite and transform itself. That's why it rains in the film and the sun comes out at the end. Why do you think, Mr. Smith asks Neo at the end, if he realizes it's impossible to win, that he simply can't? And the reason nothing can be won is that they are not separate. And Neo began to realize himself as the Matrix itself, rather than just a boy. So he no longer fights Smith and allows him to enter his body. You are not Mr. Anderson or Neo. We are the entire Matrix writing itself in order to experience itself. Neo is a realization of the two Christ-like being as we know it. We are all chosen one, but until we understand that, we will never find it, but rather we will seek it. You don't become it, you already are it. Any process is like running past the finish line after you have won a race. If you keep running, when do you recognize that you are finished? If we truly grasped the enormity of the phrase, "there is no spoon," we would have the key to the cosmos in an instant. Dolores Cannon gradually conveyed extraordinary information in her many books. She frequently and humbly said that the human mind cannot process such esoteric and mind-bending information all at once. She said our heads would explode. She had to develop her ability to comprehend the material over decades. Today, we warriors of light are accelerating the path. Ascension is rapidly approaching. The train tracks are about to reach the point of divergence. We can feel the truth that there is no spoon, and we are willing to surrender to it, even if our mind cannot fully comprehend it. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.